Today I'm going to paint a Tuscany landscape in very loose, intuitive style. Hi friends, I'm Olga Koelsch, watercolor artist, teacher and a book author. Welcome to my studio. First of all, let's prepare our warm green. I will use phthalo green with burnt umber to get this nice olive dried under sunshine mix. I have dry paper, I have relatively dry brush, and first of all I will set up the heels. So starting from one side, I make dry brush stroke to one side, then I can add a bit of burnt umber and add some brush strokes for the other side. Let them blend a bit. And now I would like to paint the upper part, a little bit of sky, a little bit of mountains on the top. So I'm just glazing the top part with water. And I allow my watercolor flows into that direction. I will use cobalt blue for the sky, for the touch of the sky. A bit bright on the top and lighter where closer to horizon. And here will be some mountain path. A bit more here. I can even add some idea of the clouds, just like this. Right here we have another hill which is almost vanishing. We can hardly see details. Therefore I will use my cobalt and green mix to create some slightly colder mix out of that. Colder, diluted, basically we can't see details. And I allow my watercolor mix as it wants, just curiously observing what's happening. This part should be very light, no need to overthink it. Can be some touches of ochre yellow a bit on there. At the same time, or maybe with a smaller brush, I can already add silhouettes for cypresses. I think cypresses, if all of us picturing very different Tuscany landscapes, we have some different pictures in mind. What's typical are cypresses, I hope, for everyone. And I mix cobalt blue, phthalo green and burnt umber to get these moody green landscapes, and it's very far away from us, so I just add just a couple of cypress silhouettes. Basically we can't really understand what kind of tree is that, but we will start. We need to start somewhere. Okay, now what I would like to do is to paint this with this part of the heel. And when we paint landscape, what's important to realize, to find out from which side sun shines. And in my case, sun shines from the right. You can draw it right here. That means that part of the hill are more on the sunlight. I will use some mix of raw sienna, make this feeling of dried grass mix, maybe with a couple of sap green, this bright green. And I move my brush because usually on the heels there are some fields. All fields, they have a very evident direction. So I just start to set up those directions with my brush, firstly very loose, and at the same time I can add different touches, a bit brighter, a bit lighter. I leave sometimes, I love to leave some untouched white area. It emphasizes the brightness of the day. And for the contrast, I can use my mix, which I used for these background cypresses, which almost vanished, by the way. Let's add a couple of bright brush strokes right here, like that. And now I can go back to my bold mix and update a couple of cypresses. It's just basically vertical lines. I'm painting on the background, and there will be more on that side. And actually I already, while this part is wet, I can set up a couple of cypresses. And now it's very important to remember that right part is far away from us, and the most close to us will be this left part. Therefore the cypresses here can be really high. So let's add one or two silhouettes. They will be soft enough because the paper is still wet on the right side. It's perfect time to add some vertical lines, and I move my brush up and down, but in slightly chaotic way, to follow the idea, to bring up the idea of cypress shape. Vertical lines, try to arrange them in really different way. Try to avoid being too symmetrical, too same. About this, already good. Maybe one more, because I like that it softens while the paper is still wet. I will add two. Difficult to say what's happening in here. This can be another part of the heel, so let's plant one more cypress on that side. We painting very intuitive, not detailed, because our goal is to bring the idea to the viewer of what is in there. So the viewer's imagination will finish the picture, but we need to create nice startup for that. Okay, now we have that big heel, and for that big heel, I would like to firstly to water the paper. I leave some untouched area for the white spots, and as we getting close to ours, it can be slightly more intense, and I would like to add red, brown, burnt sienna will be also good for that point, especially on the very front. So now I'm creating nice, interesting part of that heel, and I will add more texture into that. Firstly, let's just play around. Big brush strokes, don't overthink it. A bit contrast in this direction. Some dark spots. Let's use our dark green. Dark green can be a couple of bushes growing around, some shadows. And you see, once I add in bold color into this watery mix, the watercolor begins to to go into the direction of the water, because always looking for water, for watery part. So now we have nice mix of different colors here. Let's work a bit on the texture. First of all, we need to wait the moment until paper is getting dry. And if it looks glossy, it's not the right moment. And we have to wait. And while we are waiting, we can paint a bit more of cypresses, because right now this part is dry. And why wasting time? We can just go and paint. Right. I want to make them a little bit colder because they're more far away from us. So I add more of cerulean blue and slightly more diluted, because again they're more far away from us. They are vanishing in the atmosphere. And now let's just add a couple of silhouettes. Just use what you have on your palette. Try to bring variety. No details, just basically brush strokes, a little bit uneven, and that's the beauty. And remember, sun shines from the right, therefore the right part can be painted in slightly lighter, brighter color, and the left part a bit dark. About this, I don't like that I have it too symmetrical, therefore I will just break the routine with another tree. And now I think we are getting to a very nice moment when the paper gets dry. And first of all, I would like to add some sprinkles of green, creamy mix. Try to cover the area of the sky, protect it. Next step will be to add salt, and I like to add salt at some areas, not everywhere. For example, in this corner. And I just letting salt do its job, and I wash my brush. Just water in my brush. And I add some water sparkles. We can go wild here with the textures. Nice to play around. Sometimes it's really nice to try out different things. And then you realize what you like, what time your paper needs. All our interesting things are drying. We can have a look at the cypresses. I think they can use a bit of green, dark green side, especially on the shadow part. About this. And not too much, not overdo it. I would like to add a bit of shadow underneath cypresses line with the tip of the brush. With the tip of my dry brush, it's have all very dry. But in here, and sometimes I add my brown, my burnt umber. Just add a couple of dried brush strokes underneath. Don't overthink, don't overdo it. You look how nicely turning out our texture. Let's wait until it fully dry. With my thinner brush, I added a couple of grass onto the foreground. About this, some small details, maybe some bushes along one of the edges. I try to grab different mixes and maybe some add dry brush strokes around, so it's all a bit different, and a bit different. And now let's remove the tape. And our Tuscany landscape is ready. Thank you so much for painting with me. I hope you enjoyed the process. I'm looking forward to know what would you like to paint next. See you soon. Bye bye.